and to respond to words of wisdom. So as you can see, I'm here in my office, and this is where I do a lot of my best work, my deepest thinking, get my most precious insights and downloads. And I was thinking just now about this really great question that has made its way across the full expanse of cyberspace. But the question is being grossly misunderstood and therefore not usually answered in a way that's meaningful. And that question is, what do you bring to the table? Okay, what do you bring to the table? And I know that fundamentally people are put off by the question because they don't have a well organized, succinct, and definitive way to articulate who they are, what they do, who they do it for, why it's important. It's hard for people to articulate that. So I've been doing this work for a long time, and my primary, the base of my work is tap into your natural gifts and talents. That's how I know why the question is so difficult for people to answer, because it takes people quite a while after all we've been through in the educational experience. It's hard for people to say, these are my natural gifts and talents. So if you don't know your natural gifts and talents, it's hard for you to know what you bring to the table. That's just from the rip. But in addition, here's something that you need to know. Even if you don't really have a clear assessment of your natural gifts and talents, if I ask you what you bring to the table, I'm asking you two things. There are two things underneath that question. I'm looking for two kinds of answers. Number one, I need to know the degree to which you are self-aware. How aware are you of your environment? How much of a control do you have over your environment? Are your affairs in order? Okay. The second thing I'm trying to figure out is, how are you going to add value to anything I got going? If it's personally, how are you going to add value to my personal life? If spiritually, organizationally, how are you going to add to my legacy? How are you going to add? How are things going to be better as a result of your presence and your participation? Now, let me back it up so that you could get a sense of it in a very more neutral kind of a corporate environment or concept. I remember the first few times I applied for grants, and anybody who's ever applied for a grant can attest to this. There's going to be a variety of ways in which they're going to ask you, how are you making money right now? What's your present financial apparatus? What's in place that is floating you, right? Because a grant isn't there to pay your basic operating expenses. It's not going to pay salaries. It's not going to pay rent. It's not going to pay for your lawyer. It's not going to pay for your accountant. The grant is for certain special projects that you can't do, successfully without a little extra cash flow. All right. So my answer, once I got it all together, I realized, this is what they're asking me. Oh, listen, I've got these three donor campaigns that I run. Over the last 5 years, we've raised on average $25,000 per year. Also, we provide this range of services. These services earn for our organization approximately $84,000 per year over the last 5 years. In addition, we have products. We have books, we have mugs, we have hoodies, we have clothing. We sell Cola Nut. Those generate approximately $14,000 per year over the past 5 years. Based upon those assessments, we project that over the next 5 years, we're going to be able to raise over $300,000. And, that's letting them know, yes, when I say I'm asking your organization just to give me $30,000, it's because I'm going to use all of that money for a study abroad program. That's all. I'm not going to get halfway through the granting process and then be telling you, oh, we never got anybody off the ground because, we had to pay 6 months of back rent. That's not going to happen. So when I ask you what you bring to the table, I need to know that in the best case scenario, you're not behind in your rent 6 months. You're not in and out of jail. Your life is stable enough for us to be able to engage personally or professionally or spiritually in a way that's it's not going to be putting out fires all the time. Secondly, when it comes to you adding value, if I'm asking you that question, I want to know how clearly you can see what I'm doing. And you can say, oh, you know what? I already know that you excel in this area, in this area, in this area. And I can help you do that more efficiently. I can help you do that at a lower cost. I can help you make more money doing that. I can help you to do that in a whole different sector. I can introduce you to more people. I've got a network that, you've been barred from, or a network that you're not aware of. Oh, that's how you can add value. Fantastic. Fantastic. When you answer the question in those ways, I'm listening. That's a meaningful response. Now, the reason why I asked that question is also important. So for people who are asking the question, it's also important for you to know this. I'm asking that question for two reasons also. Number one, I'm asking that question in order to not only to assess your status and the conditions that you're in, not only to understand your level of self-awareness, but also I'm asking you that question so that I can get a sense of how well you can acknowledge how transparent you are, right? It's a question of, are you adept enough to, even if you're going to be really discreet, can you convey your understanding of your status in a way that I can understand, right? So it really does, it comes back to being self-aware, but it also is your ability to communicate and convey it, right? The second reason that I'm asking you that question is because I, at some point, am going to have to articulate to you, and this is as much a requirement for me as much as it is a need. I am going to have to, at some point, say, it's great that this is what you perceive, that you bring to the table. This is great that this is how you perceive, how you're going to add value. But bottom line, this is what I need. I have these things in order, but right now I'm looking for someone who can do these three things and never do those three things. Can you do that? And then I'm going to listen again, and I'm going to assess. All right, this is what I can expect. So the question is valuable. The responses can be super meaningful. But you who is being asked the question, you've got to be able to not take it personally. You've got to be able to at least answer it on those two levels. How orderly is your world? How much order do you have? How much control do you have over your environment? And then secondly, what are you going to add to the table? For the folks who are asking the question, you got to be able to assess this person's awareness of themselves and their environment, as well as you got to be able to articulate exactly what you really want and need them to bring to the table so that you can determine whether or not it's a fit. This is tantamount to leadership. So I'm sending this message out to the leaders. If you're someone who wants to improve the world through positive influence, then I want you to find out how Oloye, Obafemi Origunwa, and the Orisha Lifestyle Academy can help you take your practice to the highest level possible. Visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com, and let's start working together to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.